In the previous video, you heard Letecia say a lot about January 27th, the day of the homicide, and how she skipped over and danced around the actual crime and then claimed it actually happened on the 28th. Now she's going to tell you stories about the 28th.
Anyone done anything? That was the last thing on January 27th before it hits January 28th. January, you'll make it on January 28th. Do you want to keep on January 28th or did you need it? Okay. Yeah. So then January 28th, which would hit 12 a.m. in the morning, right? The January 28th comes on. There's people like whatever, there's a knock on the window. My bedroom window, right? So all of us had decided that we were going to all sleep upstairs. The reason for that was I get paranoid like that, and the only way I can protect Hardy and Lena is I have them near me. You know what I mean? So I'm like, look, all of us are sleeping up here. We're going to all be up here. I knew I wasn't going to get much sleep, but for the kids, they were going to sleep upstairs. I dozed off for a minute. There's a knock at the door, being at the window. So the knock at the window happens, and I literally go to the window, but I don't see anybody.
This is after midnight on January 28th, according to her. She says there was people like whatever. What does that mean? There's a knock on the window, which she quickly explains is her bedroom window. She didn't say my window, but okay, that one can be explained away. Why is she explaining here that she had the kids sleeping upstairs? Because she thinks the tidbit is going to be important later. And she has to throw in here, she knew she wouldn't get sleep having them with her, but, she's so heroic and gives up so much. She claims she wants them near her to protect them. In a real abduction or after a violent crime, it's normal for a parent to want to keep their children close. But according to Letecia's stories, that's not happening here. Gannon has simply gone off with a friend. I don't recall if everyone's sleeping location after Gannon's disappearance was mentioned, but it would not be a surprise if, when Harley and Lena were in the house, Letecia watched them like a hawk. Sometimes we'll ask if a subject has a location that he or she has sole control over, or that he or she rigorously guards people's access to. On this night, Letecia needs control over the house. She can't have Harley or Lena stumble across some evidence, or Gannon's body. She also can't have them talking to police without her. She has her next steps planned and has been waiting all night to execute that plan. She has to wait for the two girls to fall asleep. She dozes off for a minute, maybe. She says a knock at the door, then quickly changes it to window. Sounds like she's not speaking from memory here, but from narrative. Do you remember in her earlier interview when she was talking about the time frame when she committed the murder and she was afraid somebody had heard and came to the door? She even said she was afraid a cop was at the door. Here's a clip from that.
I didn't know if someone thought like it was a cop or, if someone heard something.
And now, as she's waiting for the right moment to move Gannon's body, she hears a knock. Edgar Allan Poe explains this best.
I talked more quickly, more vehemently, but the noise steadily increased. I arose and argued about trifles in a high key with violent gesticulations, but the sound steadily increased. Why would they not be gone? I paced the floor to and fro with heavy strides, as if excited to fury by the observations of the men. But the noise steadily increased. Oh, God, what could I do? I foamed, I raved, I swore. I swung the chair upon which I had been sitting and grated it upon the boards. But the noise arose over all and continually increased. It grew louder, louder, louder. And still the men chatted pleasantly and smiled. Was it possible they heard not? Almighty God, no, no! Oh, no, they heard, they suspected, they knew.
She goes to the window and doesn't see anything. Remember, when she killed Gannon, she checked the front door to make sure no one was out there? As she's looking out the window now, neither Harley nor Lena are saying anything to her. They're not alarmed, not asking why she's up and looking out the window. Because they're asleep.
I remember getting in the car, driving out, because maybe that was Gannon, maybe it was.
She remembers getting in the car and driving out. She remembers, so not dissociating. Then she gives her reason. The sequence of what she is saying is important here. If she heard the knock and thought it was Gannon, she would have said, I thought it might be Gannon, so I went outside to see. But no, she went to her car and drove out, not waking Harley to tell her what was going on or where she was going. And if she thinks Gannon is there at her bedroom window, why does she go to the garage and get in the car and drive away? She doesn't search the yard, doesn't call out for him? No. And she knows by now she can't claim she did because she's seen everything the prosecution has. She knows it would have been put on video. In the past, she has been confronted with the absence of claimed events on video. And she knows she has been seen on video driving away. She has brought this event up before and told police she just drove down the street. Because she knows this little car trip is important, she needs to explain it away. So she's making this claim now to explain. But even in the telling of it, her purported reason is post hoc.
Video shows me driving out of the neighborhood, out of the yard, but coming right back or whatever.
She doesn't tell them what she did. She tells them what the video shows. And she says, coming right back, emphasizing that she came right back. Nothing happened. Didn't do anything. Then she adds, or whatever. She's saying she did something else, but that's not important for you to know about. We know now she didn't come right back. We know she was putting Gannon's body out at that S-curve.
I can't remember. I don't remember that part, but I do know the video shows me going out to the car or something. And I come back inside. I keep hearing the same loud noise. And so I laid out like this, hear the same loud noise, and I know Edgar was on his way back over.
Now she doesn't remember. A minute ago she did remember. She said so. But she now has to remember to insert memory gaps. She's inside and keeps hearing, this loud noise. And so she lays back on the sofa. She did not describe going to look for the source of the loud noises she kept hearing. Think about what she has just told us and what she's trying to convey about her fear levels and concern for Gannon. She kept the girls with her to protect them, but left them alone to see if a knock at her window was Gannon, but then drives away, scared, but leaving the girls alone, needing to investigate a noise. But now when she keeps hearing a loud noise, she doesn't go look. And Edgar? What? He's coming back? So he was there before and going to come back in the middle of the night after everyone else is gone? I have to admit, I'm a little confused here. I realize we don't have every minute of every interview, but from where she starts telling them about the night Gannon has been reported missing, there has been no mention of Edgar. If you know what I'm missing here, please let me know in the comments.
Edgar wasn't going to be there when the police was there. Because he didn't want any problems or whatever. He was like, I'm going to just go out and look. What does the black car look like? I knew Edgar was going to be on his way back over that morning because they were going to help me move all the stuff to Florida. That was his whole plan, to show back up that morning anyway, not even knowing what that Gannon was missing.
Edgar wasn't going to be there when the police were there. He didn't want any problems. But Edgar didn't know Gannon was missing. So how did he know to go away? How did he know the police were going to be there? And wasn't it all over the news at this point? But there was already a plan in place for Edgar to come over in the morning. Notice here that she knows that morning is coming up. When she says why Edgar is coming, she says because they were going to help me move all the stuff. Who's they? What stuff?
So Edgar was coming back for that morning anyway. So I thought Edgar was getting there early or whatever. But I didn't see him out there outside. When I laid on the sofa like this, breathed again, I freaked out. At this point, I think someone's in the house. Now, I didn't have my handgun on me.
She lays back on the sofa and freaks out. I think we're supposed to connect that to the loud noises she kept hearing and didn't go check on, but now she freaks out because she thinks someone's in the house. And another explanation. And the introduction of the concept of a gun. I wonder if it will be a magic gun like in her other stories. You know, how it appears and disappears. Let's see.
Because when the police came earlier, if you look at the footage, they had my handgun in the car. They searched the car. Searched everything on the body cams. And this is what we came up with between, me and Michael, putting details together on my team. My handgun was in my car because it was on the videos. So, I don't know if I let Edgar in the house through the back door or if he came in through the garage. But I kept telling him I keep hearing someone in the house, and he was like, no, you're just paranoid, you're just afraid, you don't know where Gannon's at.
The reason she didn't have her handgun on her is because, big long pause, when the police come through, if you look at the footage. Oh, come on. Letecia has been looking at the footage to help craft her stories and excuses. Her hand goes in the car, and then we're on to her telling someone, I think Albert, she doesn't know if he, and we don't know who that is, came in the back door or garage, but she kept telling him someone was in the house, and he reassures her she's just being paranoid. Wowza! A whole lot of distortion here. There's no actual story. Let's go over it. It's morning, and she's expecting Edgar and someone else. She'd said they. She keeps hearing loud noises, but is not so curious or disturbed as to go find the source. Instead, she lays back on the sofa. Where are the girls? She decides the noise is someone in the house, and she freaks out. And she wants to explain why she doesn't have her handgun on her. All right, I'm Canadian. I know that America is very different when it comes to guns. I have American friends who are military and law enforcement, and they don't routinely carry their guns around the house or while they're relaxing on the sofa. Maybe other Americans do? And what about Letecia specifically? Was it a rule or habit of hers to carry a gun around in the house? If not, then why does she have to state the fact that she did not have it with her? Why does she feel it necessary to explain why she didn't have it? I'll tell you why. She's telling on herself again. I'll tell you why. She's telling on herself again. She's saying now that this was the 28th, but we know that's not true. She had the gun in her hand on the day of the homicide, the 27th. She walked downstairs with it. Remember, she said, I didn't walk downstairs with a gun to kill Gannon. Before anyone knew Gannon was dead, before his body was found, before they found the bullet in him, Letecia said to the police, I did not walk downstairs with a gun.
I didn't walk downstairs with a gun or anything like that.
My handgun was in my car because it was on the video.
My hand goes in the car because it was on the video. She's not taking responsibility for putting her hand in the car to get the gun. And she's pretending to not even remember. When she said her hand goes, it's not like it walked there by itself. And the because isn't the reason she got the gun. She's saying it's on video and suggesting she doesn't remember. Why was her gun in her car anyway? Did she go shopping with Gannon with it? Did she carry it into the pet store or leave it with Gannon? And didn't Al have her check all the guns the night Gannon went missing? And with all these people around the house, she left an unsecured gun in the car? Was it really in the car? We don't know. We don't know if she has the gun now either, because she has once again glossed over it. She started this by saying she did not have a gun on her. Are we supposed to assume she heard a noise and then went out to the car to get her gun? That would show she remembered where the gun was. But it's hard to come up with the conclusion, because she doesn't actually say anything. She's telling Albert, I assume via text, that someone is in the house and she doesn't know if he came in the back door or the garage. And Albert reassures her. Here we are. Albert isn't paying enough attention to her. We know that Albert is trying to get home, and Letecia has been texting him constantly. When Albert realizes Gannon is actually missing and not merely late from a friend's, his focus has naturally shifted to finding his son, and Letecia sent numerous texts demanding he pay attention to her, be close to her. She even guilt trips him at times for not responding the way she demands. At one point, she even has chest pains. When her histrionics don't work, she taps into a value of his, part of how he views himself as a family man, and that's protection. There's someone in the house is a hook into that. This story of someone being in the house serves two purposes now during this evaluation and trial. She can use it to claim self-defense and mistaken identity and or an altered mental state. And isn't it a painful kind of punishment to use against Al now? That's what I think this is. Remember that Letecia has previously demonstrated her ability to check reality, like when she sought reassurance from Al about the stalkers on the cruise. Or maybe I'm wrong, and she didn't check reality then or now, because both times she knew what was real, and she was making up stories to hook into Al and get a desired reaction from him.
Again, me, Harley, Eggers, Angelica, that's Eggers' family, and Lena were all in the house. Harley, Lena, I think Angelica was laying down, and Ty was on his way back. I go to school in Florida. I was on his way back here. Whenever that noise again, I realized my handgun is in the car. I never drove my car. It was in the car all day. Me and her jumped up, okay? But here, and I started going down the stairs slowly, and I went back up the stairs. And I was like, downstairs. Now, I don't know who's downstairs, what's going on. I don't even know if anyone's in the house or if it's just the people looking or what's going on.
The girls are home, and there are other known people in the house. Tyler was one name she mentioned. No mention of when they got there or what was going on, except that they go downstairs. She realizes her hand went in the car. She's still distancing here. But now she's not suggesting she doesn't remember or that the only reason she knows is because it's on video. She's speaking in present tense in the narrative. She's realizing it's going on. It's going in the car. That is, she recognizes what she is doing at the time she does it. I never drove my car. It was in park all day. Now, why is that important for her to mention? It's like her earlier statement of, I didn't go downstairs with a gun. She's showing her guilty mind. I never drove my car is a provable lie. She did drive her car to move Gannon's body to the S-curve. When she starts talking about downstairs again, she says she doesn't know who is in the house. She just told us who was in the house. But it doesn't matter, because this whole thing is a fabrication anyway.
I really don't. I don't know. I just know that I did lie. I did. When they came, I did say, get a lift, whatever. You know that. But he never did. He never left to go play. I just didn't know what to do, and I panicked in the moment.
Remember, no matter what she says, Gannon is already dead, and she has already cleaned up the scene and moved the body. This story is to get her out of trouble and to hurt Al and Landon.
When we go back down the stairs, Edgar has the other handgun on him. Crossing over the front stairwell is someone in it looks like a cape. Okay? So it's like a cape wrapped around them. Go straight into the back bedroom. As soon as I see him go to the straight back bedroom, I'm going to instantly go into protection mode.
Edgar is with her, and he has a handgun. Edgar cannot be an alternate personality, because she earlier spoke about him planning to come over that morning. Something with a cape goes into the back bedroom. Well, this could have been any one of the people in the house, or even a shadow. She goes into protection mode, which, according to her claims, means Maria is taking over. Since she has amnesic barriers between herself and Maria, she should not be capable of telling us anything further. But she does.
I went to go grab the gun from Edgar, because I thought the person in the cape, I didn't know who it was. It happened with the whole Michael the Archangel. The whole thing had happened with my stepdad. And when I grabbed it from him, the gun hits me and then hits the person in the cape. At the time, I didn't know who the person in the cape was. Oh, standing on top of the bed. I didn't know at the time it was standing on top of the bed. And so later on, when I sat down with my attorneys and we put it together and realized it, I didn't know until that point that it was Gannon standing.
She's bringing up Michael the Archangel, but she herself never said the guy was really an archangel, and he never reappeared after she allegedly met him. She never claimed he was in the house, and she's not actually claiming he's there now. She's just throwing it out there, just like she threw out the word bike. She doesn't actually see him now, and she doesn't tie him to these events in any substantive way. When she says, the gun hits me and then hits the person in the cape, what hit her, the gun or a bullet? She's describing it as the gun hit her and the other person. That is, the same object struck both people. Who loaded the gun? Whose gun was it? Hers or Edgar's? Who took the safety off? She doesn't say the gun went off and people got hit. She says the gun hits both of them. She says, I didn't know who it was on the bed, and that she put it together with her attorneys that it was Gannon on the bed. Holy cannolis. First, how badly snowed are these attorneys? And second, where I worked, defense lawyers listened to the accused's stories, asked questions, gathered information, but never helped the accused actually construct a story. To me, This is wild. I don't know that any lawyer would be listening to my little YouTube channel, but if you're an American lawyer, I want your thoughts on this one. Letecia will continue on with her story. Notice she shows no horror, no grief, no remorse. Remember, this story she's telling is not true. This is not how it happened at all. This isn't even the same day. What you are witnessing is a psychopath in action. Now, go wash out your brain with something good. I'll work on part 4. Thank you for listening.